Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Unleash Your Potential podcast. My name is John Brucato. I'm your host. Our co-host, Robert Avia, he is flying over the Atlantic right now, so I'm flying solo today, hanging out with one of my great friends, Mariela. I am so excited for this episode because we've been talking about doing this for a little while, and it's finally coming to fruition. Mariela, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
Good. Ready.
Yeah, and Mariela, I know we talked about this a little bit, but the whole purpose of the podcast is really to help people level up and become the best versions of themselves, you know, whether they're in business or they're thinking about getting in business, or maybe they're just going through life looking for some beacon of hope and opportunity. That's really why we put this together, you know, and I can't think of anyone that embodies all of those things more like you.
Oh,
you know?
Thank you. You're so kind.
Yeah. So let's just jump in. You know, so are you from the Houston area originally?
Yeah, born and raised. Yeah, in south side of Houston.
That's awesome.
My neck of the woods.
Yeah. Have you always lived in Houston?
Yeah, for the most part. I had 1 year that I didn't, but other than that, for the majority of my life, it has been here in Houston. In different parts of Houston, I have lived in Sugar Land, and west side of Houston, and south side. So, yeah, I've been around, been in Houston.
Yeah, what's kept you in the city for so long?
Oh man, honestly, the many opportunities.
Yeah.
There's so much that Houston has to offer.
That's
and
right.
How diverse, not just culturally, but just in the different aspects of industries that are present here. And so that just creates so much opportunity.
Yeah. That's great. And you obviously you work in the city. You have a couple of businesses. You know, what businesses do you have?
Yeah, so I own Suitebread, which is a color grading company here in Houston, and so that's in the film industry.
Yeah.
I have Lonestar Capital Diamond, which is a business consulting and business management company, along with a couple of other series LLCs under it.
Yeah.
And also my nonprofit, which is in connection with Lonestar Capital Diamond.
Wow. That's amazing. You know, and have you always been in business for yourself, or is that where you started, like right out of school, or you know, was there a process, or?
That's a great question, and I love telling the story.
Yeah, please.
That's kind of how everything kind of domino affected.
Yeah.
When I was 18, fresh out of high school, I used to work for a company in Sugar Land, and I worked there for about 16 years.
Wow.
You know, so yeah, so all of my 20s was all there, and my upbringing, and so you can almost say that I was raised in the corporate world.
Yeah, sure.
And then afterwards, ended up leaving around 2021 to pursue real estate. I was introduced to real estate from an investor perspective.
Really? Okay.
And then I wanted to grow more, learn more about it, and figured, well, I can buy and sell my own properties, and ended up getting my real estate license. I am licensed. And within those classes, I ended up understanding property management. And then from there, I wanted to dive deeper into that world, and so that's where I also work in connection in property management.
Yeah. Okay. And so you just right out of school, you had a corporate job, and something somehow happened where you said, okay, I need to do something different. What was that shift? What happened?
Yeah, I think from transitioning from corporate over to real estate was just finding, through COVID, pretty much, finding that, working from home and setting my own boundaries of the time management and all that.
Yeah.
So I excelled really well. While I know certain people didn't, they didn't feel great, working from home 24/7, but I excelled in it, and in better time management, project management for myself.
Yeah.
And I ended up wanting to continue that, and so in the corporate job, I wasn't able to have that type of flexibility.
Gotcha.
And so that was another push to be able to, jump out and, go pursue other opportunities.
Yeah, so it was really about the freedom versus anything else.
Right, absolutely, yeah. And so with that came wanting to, be an entrepreneur. And having my other businesses that I have till this day.
Yeah, so it's been about 3 years since you completely made the shift. Did you make like a hard shift, or did you ease into it?
Eased into it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a type A planner.
So is my life. I get it.
Yeah. So I needed to, ease into it to make sure, all my ducks are in a row.
Sure.
And, getting that aligned. So yeah.
That's great. And so it's been about 3 years since this happened. What kind of challenges have you seen over the last 3 years running, a couple businesses?
Oh man, definitely. spreading myself too thin in the beginning.
Yeah, sure.
And then now narrowing down of what needed my focus and what can I outsource and what I wanted to focus in. What did I excel in? For me, being in the position for example, with Suitebread, I excel really well as the producer because I am very organized. Sure. I handle project management very well, and also communications with clients and pursuing and networking and all of that stuff. And so finding where my role was best suited, it has helped a lot because it's something that I enjoy doing. Yeah,
so I just identify what your strengths are and then delegate or hire the rest.
Exactly.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. That's great. So, sir, going back more on the personal side of things, so remind me, you don't have any kids, right?
Correct. No.
Okay, great.
I wouldn't be able to do what I do.
Yeah. Listen, I know you do a lot. You do a lot. But who are you fighting for right now? Because I know there's family. Who's that big motivation for you at home?
Oh man, honestly. And it's somewhat ironic, but it is my nieces, my nephew, and my godson. Because I want to put them in a position where I didn't grow up in the position being. Growing up, I lived in a lower income community. I had an immigrant mother trying to survive, with 2 kids. Wow. And so all of that affected me to where I wanted to put, my next generation, to a better position, and having them understand things that I never got to experience, financial literacy and budgeting, what is savings, real estate investing, building your wealth through different sources. So I wanted to create that exposure to them so that way they can set themselves up.
Wow, that's powerful. And how old are they?
Oh my goodness. Let's see, my godson's 4, my oldest niece is 11, and then I have an 8-year-old nephew and 6-year-old niece.
Wow, so they're watching their Tia just get after it. I think that's the best lesson of all is your example that you're setting. Not just what you can teach them, but what you show them. I heard this one time, and I want to give credit to the one who told me, but I don't remember who said it. They said most lessons are caught, not taught. So them watching your example is just so powerful. That's an amazing thing.
Oh yeah, no, and I can see it already, in the conversations that we have, even with my 11-year-old, which I feel she might not understand, but I don't water it down to where she's asking me questions, and so her and I have conversations about money, odd enough, because she's very type B artistic, and so, but we do have those conversations where she's understanding that world as well already.
Wow. Yeah. That's powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you've got multiple businesses and you wear multiple hats. How do you balance all that?
Honestly, time management has been the most prominent in everything that I do. I separate days where I focus on certain different businesses or certain aspects of those businesses. So, whether that's in the evenings or that's on a Sunday where I have the most peace, where I'm not getting a lot of phone calls and all that. So, time blocking has helped a lot for sure.
So then what's your process? Why don't you share that with everybody? It's Sunday night. We're planning out the week. Maybe you don't do that on Sunday night, by the way, but we're planning out the week. Do you plan things like a week in advance, like a month in advance? What does that look like?
Yeah, a week in advance. So typically on a Sunday, I'm already planning for the following, kind of overseeing what's going to happen on the next week. And then on that next Sunday, then I'm looking at, okay, what do I have going on so that I can prepare mentally or through resource or anything like that. So my Sundays are very much for myself, because I also take time to read, which I'm not an avid reader as I would love to be. I have to force myself, but it's for me, it's the education part. Never stop learning is one of the things that I stand by.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff are you reading?
Oh man, right now I just finished up. What is it called? Oh goodness, I'm trying to think of the name. I see the book in my face, but I can't think of the name.
That's okay.
But I just finished it. It's a really popular book.
What's the topic?
It's financial planning.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Money Matters. I think that's what I see the book. It's green and white, but I can't think of the name. But I just wrapped that one up.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you have this process of continual learning, and what other stuff are you doing to self-improve?
Oh man, aside from reading, I am always trying to stay in connection with people that are above me, that are further out in their businesses, that I know are willing to help me. And so just having communications, having lunch, and just talking shop, that helps significantly, because that helps me in the long run to hear what mistakes they went through, and then I can make a note of let's avoid this in the future, so that helps. So why don't you talk about for a second, Mariela, because obviously you have 3 businesses. You've got to have some wisdom. Which business do you enjoy the most and why? Oh man, honestly, I would have to say Suitebread. Yeah, that one has been, because it's more in the arts. So I have really, I delved into learning not just the technical side, but also on who I need to know, within.
Yeah, what is it you do in that company?
Yeah,
what is the company?
Yeah, so Suitebread is a color grading company. So how I best explain it is, when you watch a movie, the color that you see on screen is not entirely what was actually shot during production.
Oh, okay.
Someone had to tweak it, and the cinematographer plays a huge role with that while shooting, and makes our lives easier as colorists.
Sure.
Well, not me, but my colorist. And so that color is tweaked, it's color corrected. And so that's what we do in the company as specialists.
Wow. How did you get in that field?
Honestly, through my colorist. Him and I've been knowing him for over 25 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so then there was an opportunity for him to become freelancer, but he knew off the bat that he did not want to do any of the business side, handling client services, handling accounting, none of that. And so I told him, well, let me take that on.
Yeah.
Me having the experience in that, and I love that world.
Yeah.
So. We joined forces, you can say, and he only does the color grading, and I handle the rest of the business side.
Wow, that's amazing. And how do you grow that kind of business? It seems very niche. How do you grow that kind of business?
Yeah, it's all about networking, to be honest with you. It's a very relational business, similar to real estate.
Yeah.
And so with that, you have to know, people in the industry, and also not just here in Houston, but also outside. I've already made connections in New York, in Georgia. The last one I'm missing now is California. One of the big hubs, for film.
Just a bit.
Yeah, so it's all about connections, and networking and talking about your business. Closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
That the exposure is always important, and also the supporting aspect of it. Supporting our local organizations that we have here. For us, we love the Houston Latino Film Festival. We are huge supporters.
When is that?
That is March of next year.
Oh, wow.
The weekend of the 12th.
That's going to be great.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, we're already in the works of planning for it. I'm an ambassador for them, and they're already getting their ducks in a row as far as
so then I need an invite, is what
Absolutely.
Come on.
Yes, please do. Yeah. And, it's all Latino based, and so naturally for us, as supporters, we want to do everything that we can for them as well.
Wow, that's powerful. We're going to get ready to wrap up in a minute, Mariela, but I think there's just two more things I wanted to hit on. One of the things that I actually love about you is your energy and your attitude, because, running one business, there's a lot of ups and downs, and it's hard to stay positive, it's hard to stay focused, but I can't imagine running 3 or 4 or beyond, right? So what do you think is the biggest way you can stay positive and stay focused through the ups and downs of business?
Oh man, remembering your why.
Yeah.
As cliche as it might sound, but remembering your why, and when I do something very passionate, even though I have my bad days, I have my laptop with me, and I'll be working on an email or somehow doing something with the business. And so for me, is remembering my why, but also in connection to my passion. This is what I want to do. I love doing it, and so that's why I'm able to naturally, you can say, keep going.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like you fall in love with what you're doing, and so that even when you get hit or when it hurts, you still love doing it.
Absolutely.
That's powerful. And we're gonna wrap up. It's kind of a plug for me, but we were talking about this big event that we're gonna have going on at the tournament. Actually, let me pause on that. So I wanted to ask you, and I completely forgot. We're coming up on the end of the year, right? And you being the planner that you are, and just I hope business owners, if they have not started planning for next year, please start planning for next year, okay? It's way too late to not be planning for next year. But, what are some things you're doing right now to prepare yourself for Q1 of next year?
Oh, man. Preparing as far as talking with my people already. So my tax professional, and, as far as business goes, handling what is going to come in Q1 so that we have no surprises. So getting my key team members of, okay, what do we need to do now so that we can prepare for next year and not have to rush or anything like that. Also, connections with different events that are coming up, already looking at throughout the whole year what's going to be happening next year. And so what are we sponsoring? What are we going to be a part of?
Mm-hmm.
And so that helps now, not just financially, but also time-wise, right?
Right.
That helps significantly, so yeah.
Great. So as we wrap up, like I said a minute ago, just a huge plug for me. So speaking of Q1, right, we've got a big event going on in January, and I'm so excited for you to be there, right? If you guys don't know, January 15th, I am hosting a real estate symposium. I don't know what I'm calling it. That's what I'm calling it for now. But everyone who's anyone in real estate, construction, home services is going to be there, including Mariela. That's what she said, at least, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's on my calendar.
Yes. I have made the calendar. I'm so excited. It's going to be great. It's going to be at Drift in the Heights, from 4:30 to 7:30, and it's just going to be a major networking event. I'm just trying to get all my friends in one room, because, and you even said it on this podcast, that how important building relationships and networking is, and it's my biggest hope in this aspect, that all of my friends, whether they're on the construction side, the investor side, the the realtor side, whatever it might be, that they can just build relationships and elevate each other and just take Houston to a whole new level. So, Mariela, we're going to wrap up, and I appreciate you doing this. This has been a lot of fun, of course. And hey, if people want to get a hold of you, whether it's for property management or color grading or whatever it might be, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Oh man, I would say text or phone call.
Okay, great. And are you cool with me putting that in the show notes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. I'll do that. Houston, we appreciate you guys plugging in. Thank you for checking out the Unleash Your Potential podcast. Go find us on YouTube, Instagram. Go find us. We're on Apple Podcasts now, right? So if you're not following us, what have you been doing? Okay, plug in Unleash Your Potential _podcast on all platforms, and we'll see you guys next time.